So yes, as Kat said, I'm Adam. Based on one half of Toad Hole Nursery, which is just outside Purton. I don't know if you know Purton. But mine and Laura's little nursery, which we started about a year ago. We've been growing plants ourselves for probably about 3 or 4 years now. Started kind of us selling them down sort of outside our house and things like that really cheaply, and then we just kind of escalated from there really. Yeah, we've got a little small holding where we keep pigs and chickens and stuff like that, so it all kind of fits in with that little lifestyle. I'm a gardener from my own gardening business, so it fits in with that, and Laura's an ex-florist, so it all kind of ties in really. So yeah, we started doing the hanging baskets probably about 8 months ago. So we started in the autumn, so you've got to do tricky autumn winter hanging baskets. So they're the first ones we tried doing, and so we used things like pansies and ivies, and we underplanted them with tates, which are little mini daffodils, which you know of. And now we're on to the summer hanging baskets. So I'm going to show you a couple of summer hanging baskets. So I'm going to start off with a 12-inch, which is quite a small one, and we're using wire hanging baskets because we're going to use moss to fill them up with, rather than having the already ready-made ones. And what you can do when you have moss-filled hanging baskets quite easily is you can stick things in the side, which that's how you get your amazing cascading kind of flowers and stuff like that. So here's some moss, which actually we got for free because it came out of someone's garden. So it's quite expensive moss.
We didn't nick it or anything.
You just go and find someone's lawn and then a load of moss comes out of it. It's good. So you've got to be quite. Got to put quite a lot in. I'm going to make a mess all over the table, but
that's okay.
So you put quite a lot in the bottom. Start off by doing that. Let's see. Can everyone see? Easy enough.
It looks more natural with moss, doesn't it, than all the other artificial things you can use.
It does. That's why I choose to do it. It takes more time. You've got to be a bit more connected about it, but I think in the end you get better results, don't you? So we've got a decent layer of moss, and then we use plates. Just go and get a load of plates and stick it in the bottom like that, and that just helps to keep the moisture in. Because some people use, you can cut this of plastic or something like that. That helps to do it, but we just use that because if you're making loads, you don't want to be cutting loads of plastic. You just get on and do it. Put a bit more moss in. The trick with this moss is to not be too. You've got to sort of go for it, because if you put little bits at a time, it tends to fall through the outside. It's kind of doing there, but you just got to plug it together and. Right, so what I'm going to do now, I've got it round the sides, is I've got some compost here, and I'm going to mix this all-purpose plant food in, which is slow release, and you mix that in with compost. And then if I put it into here, it's always good to kind of firm it down. Always kind of pushing it, squeezing it together as well. So for the sides, in the 12-inch, this size, I'm going to put in one row of plants around the outside. And I've got a few different types of these ones. I've got petunias, and I've stuck to fairly universal bedding plants really, ones that are easy to kind of get. So I think in this one I'm going to put in some blue trailing lobelia on the sides. So poke them out of there, and I'll start. So I'll put one through every other gap. Sorry, just stick it in like that. There's one there. have any questions or anything to...
Yeah, what compost are you using?
This is just multi-purpose, and one multi-purpose compost, whatever. If you add the fertiliser to it, it has enough to keep it going through the growing season and keep them looking good.
You don't bother with the water retaining gel or anything, Adam?
I don't, but we do use it.
Right.
But if you're watering them and looking after them, it shouldn't really need it. Yeah. So maybe it's incentive to look after them.
True.
Also, what it can do, it can sort of spill out a little bit as well. It kind of swells up and...
Oh, yeah.
Right, so I've got the lobelias in there, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to put in some more compost there, just to sort of knit them together. Once again, firming them down nicely. And then, second layer of moss. Now it's always good to go, with the moss, go a little bit above the rim, because it tends to sink, and then that's not so good. It's not a great look.
Where do you get your moss if you haven't got a lawn that you can get that?
Well, you can get moss, bags of moss from any garden centres, I think. We get them from a sort of a friend who's like it's like a trade nursery, so we get them everything a bit cheaper. But it is expensive. I mean, this came from someone's lawn, but that amount in there would cost about £8 or £9.
Gosh.
Yeah, so they are more pricey. It's more pricey to do because you use quite a lot.
Yes.
It's an incentive not to have such a good lawn. So I knew there was a reason mine was bad. Go home and make mine up.
Yes, true.
That's it, yeah.
It's looking good already,
Is it?
isn't
I
it?
can't read.
Yeah.
It's not too bad.
Looking really natural. It's
The
looking
things I haven't used this moss before. This is Laura's been making
I have.
recent hanging baskets
Oh,
with
have
this
you?
moss.
Yeah.
You've got to try this quite nice moss because that's another thing
easier.
with moss. When you buy it, there are different types, and sometimes they turn out kind of white and they look dead. Sometimes they're really dark green, and this is kind of intermediate, really. I think it's got bits of grass in it as well, but it's fine as long as it keeps everything in. And
It does look so natural, doesn't it?
Yes.
In the past, I've used, begonia, the elephant seed.
Yeah.
I've used those leaves to
You've-
line them.
Oh, really?
It lasts all summer.
because they're really waxy and big, aren't they? So
Yeah,
they
you
would
can
keep
cut
that.
slits in them.
Oh, what good idea.
That's a good idea. Yeah. We've got some beginnings, yeah. Yeah, you could try that. Right, I'm going to stick in at the top 3 larger plants. So I've got a petunia here, trailing one, called this Siphinia type. So it's fairly standard. So just make a little well in there. Stick it in. And then I've got a Nepeta, which I think in relation to catmint, it's from the same family, Nepeta. But that's trailing in, it's a nice bit of variegated foliage, quite like that. You may have noticed actually I'm doing it on a chimney pot as well. We'll talk about that, but it makes life a lot easier when if you use a plant pot or a chimney pot or something. Stops it rolling around. That's just common sense, isn't it, I guess?
No, thank you, learn, I think.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is that where we've got our nursery, the lady had it before. It was a hanging basket business, and she'd been doing it for 10 years. So she's passed on lots of coming around and checking that we're doing everything correctly.
Taking her finger
Which is
in.
good.
Yeah.
Really good. And this is an ivy-leaved geranium. People call them geraniums, but they're actually pelargoniums. Geraniums are those things over there. But I don't know why people call them geraniums. And it even says on there, ivy
Yeah.
geranium.
Yeah.
It's pelargonium. Weird.
I think it's a name everybody recognises as geranium. Yeah.
It is.
Are they not related then?
I don't think so, no.
All right.
That's the way. That's the thing.
family.
I don't think they are. I mean, if you look at the leaves and everything, they're completely different.
That's strange.
And they're hardy through the winter. These are tender, aren't they?
Well, yeah, that's true.
But that's maybe something I'm looking into. I haven't looked into that much, but I don't think they are. Hence, like the Latin name for this is pelargonium, and that's geranium.
Right.
And it's a geranium that's hardy.
The geraniums are hardy.
And the
Pelargoniums aren't.
What sort of flowers do the hardy ones have?
Well, there's loads of different types of hardy geraniums, but those ones over there, pink flowered ones, about that sort of size, and then they just mound and just keep going and spread. And they're one of those things, geraniums, aren't they? They're really good for tricky spots. They'll just grow in most places. They're fairly unfussy.
Do they like clay?
Not many plants like clay.
They tolerate it.
They tolerate it, yeah.
We've got a bank, a brown colour bank. It's like on quite well on a bank.
If it is
Looking
clay,
really
you can just
good.
work some manure and stuff into it, just open it up a bit. Right, I think that's pretty much done. I mean, I was going to say from that side. Sometimes what can happen with the moss is get bits of soil coming out now and again, but you just hang it up, water it all, then just check it and chuck bits of moss back in. It'll sort itself out over time as the roots knit together and things like that. And then put the chain on. I'm not going to put the chain on now because it's a faff. I've got nowhere to hang it. And I'll end up tripping over it on the floor or something. So that's the 12-inch one.
That's brilliant, isn't it? Look lovely. Yeah, really natural.
And that will spread nicely. That'll just be spilling out everywhere.